Thank you for staying with us. It's time now to take a look at stories making headlines on the front page of Nigeria newspapers. And I begin with the Nation newspaper. The major story here, economy in upward swing, very promising, says Cardoso. The writers there, service sector is key driver, oil sector growth doubled, foreign reserves can take 1 year import. And at the downstrip, how economy is making progress under Tinubu by Reno Omokri. At the top corner there, Soludo councils can't be autonomous, controversial bill signed. It was nary escape in Libya, pilot who flew eagles reveals. Rivers Assembly declares seats of Ehie Okojombo vacant. Senator Kau accuses colleagues of drug use. Lagos Red Rail Line from Oyingbo to Agbado takes off. Sanwo-Olu serves as head ground staff. Interesting development there. Those are some of the stories you find on the front page of the Nation newspaper. Now to the Business Times. Ending poverty for half the world can take over 100 years. World Bank is quoted as saying that. Says global goal of ending extreme poverty defined as $2.15 per person per day by 2030 is out of reach. We need a fundamentally new development playbook if we are to truly improve people's lives, livelihoods, and protect our planet. Now, another story, CBN has outlined plans to address spiraling inflation. Cardoso says Nigeria's external reserves rose by 12.74% to $39.12 billion as of October the 11th, 2024. Address constraints limiting local product competitiveness. Manufacturers Association of Nigeria urges government. Inflation rises to 32.7% as economic pressures mount. And those are some of the stories you find on the front page of the Business Times. To the Nigeria News Direct now. Inflation rate hits 32.70% on petrol price hike after 2 months decline. CPPE urges government action to curb rising prices. Lagos Red Line commences commercial operations. NFIU withdrawal limit obstructing governance. Ogun State government. Rivers Houses of Assembly sit past 2 parallel motions. And PDP flags off campaign in Ondo as leaders affirm party unity. Some of the stories on the front page of the Nigerian News Direct. To the Guardian newspaper now. Talking about World Food Day, inflation-weary Nigerians begging, borrowing for survival. And there's an infographic there. Says low-income families unable to afford basic foods. Many Nigerians will struggle to meet up their expenditures between now and 2025. The CBN survey. And another part of that says by the conservative estimate of the national average cost of a healthy diet of 1,255 naira per meal as of August figures, a family of 4 would require 150,000 naira a month to have a meal daily. Emphasis on a meal daily. 1.6 million hectares of land have been inundated by flood, climate-induced issues, and insecurity. Those are some of the details of the infographic there. Now, another story here. Power Minister denies multiple grid collapses, blames minor trip-offs. All right. Nigeria, others may need 100 years to end extreme poverty, says World Bank. That's quite a worrisome development. Now let's move to the Platform Times. The major story here, federal government expands social programs to support 20 million Nigerians amid economic hardship. CJN warns as over 240,000 cases backlog threatens courts. Suspected ram thief abandons stolen animal, flees after sighting owner at Abuja market. Interesting. Now to arraigned over alleged 9.6 million naira shares theft. Senator challenges lawmakers to swear on holy books, denies sponsoring drug abuse. Interesting story there. Now, Oyo government, UNICEF push for hand-washing culture to combat diseases. Some of the stories on the front page of the Platform Times. To the Punch newspaper, marketers ban petrol import to bridge shortfall. Dangote not producing enough to meet domestic demand currently, dealers claim. Ipman loads NNPCL PMS. And high petrol price pushes inflation to 32.7%. That's what the report is saying. On your dam, anxiety grips Ogun community over fresh flooding. Naira among worst performing currencies. The World Bank is quoted as saying that. PDP crisis, Damagum gets reprieve, leads Ondo campaign. Government hires senior advocates for Lagos Calabar highway suit. Federal government plans cash transfer for 20 million poor Nigerians. Now, fresh crisis hits Rivers as pro-Fubara Wike lawmakers clash. Some of the stories on the front page of the Punch newspaper. To the blueprint now, anxiety as PDP National Chairman Damagum returns. Ulogwangba, Ajibade, others too. October the 24th, NEC remains unchanged. Governors Forum urges parties to sheath sword, maintain status quo. Will still win Undo despite leadership crisis. Southwest Chair is quoted as saying. Now, Tinubu's reforms not to impose new taxes on Nigerians. If IRS, we are not taxing poverty, but prosperity. Adedeji is quoted as saying that. Now, banks recapitalization to support $1 trillion economy by 2030. Cardozo is quoted as saying. Some stories on the front page of the blueprint. Now, Daily Trust is next. PDP crisis. Damagum may step down next week. Aggrieved members told to withdraw court cases. Governor asks factional leader to vacate office, lift suspensions. Those are some of the stories, the major story rather, on the front page of the Daily Trust. And now to the New Telegraph. Party crisis. PDP governors, National Working Committee, Board of Trustees, National Assembly caucus broker peace, nullify suspensions, reaffirm Damagum as acting national chair as NEC. Meeting seems uncertain. Will resist one-party state governors. The governors, as the PDP governors, are quoted as saying. Now, Super Eagles Senate asks Libya to apologize to Nigeria as Akpabio reps call for probe. A pilot, how we averted potential plane crash. It was like being held hostage. We feared for our lives. Simon, Libya, Nigeria risk points for feature fine suspension. Alamide.
I begin here with the leadership, and the big story here is on the party crisis. PDP governors back Damagum to avoid legal battle. Nullify suspensions puts Yayari Mohammed in check. There is no crisis in our party, Bauchi governor says. And court orders VDM to delete a filing of videos related to Bobrisky. Interesting. Nigeria's foreign reserves hit $39.12 billion. I will not speak on the NNPP crisis, Kwankwaso says. World Bank projects 10.5% revenue growth for Nigeria. In Rivers State, Mawile declares pro-Fubara lawmakers sit vacant. In sports, the CAF delisted Nigeria, Libya, Afghan qualifier. The major story is on the front page of the leadership. The Nigeria Tribune, PDP flags off Ondo governorship campaign as Makinde demands redeployment of state resident electoral commissioner. Babalola not Ondo state indigene, INEC says. PDP governors resolve NWC crisis, ask parties to revert to status quo. Mawili-led Rivers Assembly declares pro-Fubara lawmakers sit vacant. Your seats already declared vacant since December 13th. Pro-Fubara lawmaker insists. Inflation hit 32.70% in September, rising inflationary trend, eroding manufacturers, investors' profit margins. Bank recapitalization to support $1 trillion economy by 2030. That's according to the CBN governor. Foreign reserve rises to $39.12 billion. Another story here is on the World Food Day. Nigerians groan as prices of food items continue to rise. Experts prefer solutions to food insecurity. Our government arraigns auxiliary and 17-count charge. Some stories on the front page of Nigeria Tribune. The Daily Independent, still on the PDP crisis. The PDP governors resolve the National Working Committee crisis, reunites feuding factions. Party demands removal of resident electoral commissioner ahead Ondo gubernatorial election. Increases in petrol food prices push Nigeria's inflation to 32.70% in September. Okojumbo's Rivers Assembly insists Mawile 24 orders sit vacant, ask INEC to conduct by-election to fill vacant seats. Another story here says Kiamu directs foreign airlines to patronize Nigerian caterers for onboard meals. Federal government has reached 4 million households under the social intervention program, according to Wale Edu. Recurring great collapse, national shame, says Obi. Let's go to the Hope newspaper. Your vote will count. INEC assures Ondo electorates. PDP roadside campaign rally in court paralyzes Akure, obstructs movement. Commuters' cars count losses. APC PDP in war of words over campaign venue approval. PDP's governorship candidate posing security threats deserves arrest. That's according to Aidatiwa's camp. Still in Ondo State, the state government is targeting 1 million children for measles vaccination in 1 week. Recurring power outage, a national shame. That's Peter will be there. The major stories on the front page of the Hope newspaper. So the first news, most of our offices, have drug dealers. Senator alleges drug abuse among lawmakers. EFCC operatives held hostage at a Enugu radio station for Ponzi scheme. Reps asked the federal government to summon Libya ambassador over Super Eagles' ill treatment. World Bank VB urges Nigerian government to sustain reforms amid hardship. No UK backing for Sunday Igbo's Yoruba Nation plea. The federal government is clarifying. The federal government also is mandating foreign airlines to use local caterers for in-flight meals. The major stories on the front page of the first news to this: Nigeria, great collapses again, businesses grounded. TCN says power fully restored. Nigeria should not be experiencing this kind of thing, Obi says. Nigeria's headline inflation rate jumps to 32.70% in September 2024. Some lawmakers encourage drug abuse in constituencies, says Kano senator. As Senate passes NDLEA bill institute for second reading. Major stories on the front page of this Nigeria to the Daily Times. NJC will not spare non-performing judges. The Chief Justice of Nigeria warns. United Kingdom denies endorsing Igbo's petition on Yoruba Nation. Court bars EFCC from harassing ex-minister Batagarawa in disputed land matter. And while disaster looms for patients as Kaduna health workers vow to continue strike. The major stories on the front page of the Daily Times. On the Nature News, a 9-year legal battle in the United Kingdom. Nigerian communities secure justice against Shell and landmark oil spill case. Dangote Cement is committing to net zero targets, empowers widows, children for sustainability. Nigeria set up task force on EU deforestation regulation ahead of December deadline. Kogi governor appeals for support as severe flooding sacks 200 communities in the state. And finally, on Sporting Live, Osimhen's Chelsea move threatened. Financial fair play set to delay Nigerians' transfer. Libya showed us Pepe Olaina, one of the players, is reacting. Libya team trains to play Nigeria. Says no room for excuses. Interesting. Ferguson told to stay away from Man United dressing room after Radcliffe sacked legend from £2.61 million ambassadorial role. The major stories on the front page of the newspapers this morning, Veronica.
Okay, I believe that our viewers have been updated, and that any story that interests you, you can pick up any of the papers to get more details. So still to come on TVC.